Hi, I'm Ernest, and this is my video on how to replace the pedals in a Porsche 996. This happens to be a 2004 Cabriolet. I am by no means a mechanic, and this is just for fun. So if you're looking to replace your pedals with some aftermarket, maybe aluminum ones like these that we're going to do, this might be a great video. And for me, it's really just a chance to work with my kids, my two boys. My son William films it, while my older son Nathaniel does all the editing. So if you don't like the way it's filmed or edited, blame them. But I hope you enjoy. And there'll be projects in the future. We'll do some carbon fiber wrapping, some other projects. All right. So today we're going to install some aftermarket aluminum pedals in this Porsche 996. So this is what it looks like right now. Just the standard pedals. So what we'll do is we'll pull out the car mat here, and we're going to put in these aftermarket aluminum pedals. Alright, so the first thing we'll do is we'll pull out the mat. You don't want to get that dirty. And we'll put in just a little rubber mat in case anything drops. And maybe we'll put down some newspaper when we're drilling. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is remove the rubber from the clutch pedal. So we'll grab it from the bottom here and remove it. That was a plastic pedal. We'll do the same for the brake pedal, which is metal. And then these two are plastic, and we'll just be drilling into those. Alright, so what I've done here is I've just put a couple of strips of double-sided tape on each pedal so that I can put the pads on and get them aligned the way I'd like. Alright, so now I've got the double-sided tape on the pedals and the pedals in place, and now I'm just going to use a pencil because the pedals are black. Fits. To make our marks on all the pedals. But it took a bit of fiddling back and forth with the pedals to get them in the right spot with the double-sided tape. I highly recommend lining them both up so they look nice and even before you start with one. Alright, so I'm gonna have to hold this pedal down. This is the clutch pedal while I drill the 3 holes for the pedal. So there's not a lot of clearance. I bought this offset drill from Harbor Freight. It was $23. I used a coupon. I bought it for $20. So I'm gonna try this out. That goes through pretty quickly. And we'll do the last one here. Now the metal, not going to be as quick. Let's start with the bottom. Let's start with the easy one. We'll just take our time. Make sure we're nice and straight. So I added some newspaper so the metal shavings wouldn't go behind the accelerator pedal, so we'll get back to it. All right, you can see from the position of the drill that if it was a full-size drill, you'd have a difficult time getting in there, but maybe it's possible. All right, so that's the third hole on the brake pedal. So we'll clean this up and then we'll move on to the accelerator. All right, so that's the third hole on the brake pedal. Okay, so now we're fitting our clutch pedal. So let's find the holes. 1, 2, 3. So I drilled 1/8-inch holes. So now we'll start to put these washers and nuts on the back, and we'll finish it off with a, I believe it is a 2.5 millimeter hex wrench. So yes. Okay. So I scratched the pedal a little bit right here with this bigger tool. So I'm going to say I recommend going with just a smaller handheld 2.5 millimeter. Less likely that you'll drop it and it'll move across the pedal. It's actually a little bit easier to work with as well. So let's get to these. Almost did it again. All right, so now I'm installing the gas pedal. And I've just made my 3 marks, 2 down there, 1 up there. When lining it up, I was looking primarily at the way it covered the gas pedal and that the word Porsche was nice and straight, rather than if I followed the line of the side, that the P would sort of tilt down. I wanted it to be straight across. Another thing I noticed, that spots for the screws in the back, I was worried about that full throttle. It would pinch it, but it looks like, I don't know if you can see that gap back there, that it should be fine. There's still a little gap there. You see that shadow? So I think we'll go ahead and drill those. And then we'll just finish up the top hole here. Make sure we're all go through. Okay. So now we can fit our accelerator pedal on there. Alright, so now that we have our holes drilled, we're test fitting the bolts, and they don't go all the way through. They're not long enough to go through the thick plastic accelerator pedal. So what we'll do is we'll pull them off. I'll try to purchase some longer ones. That might be a bit of a challenge, especially with this hex top. Well, this is another day, and like I said, I had to order new 2.5 millimeter bolts, longer ones. I bought these on eBay, so I can't really attach a link in the description. But what I can say is that the 30 millimeter size was probably the best fit. So what I ended up doing is when I put the 30 millimeter through, it was way too long in the back. To get the 30 millimeter bolt that I bought to fit, I pushed it through, took the supplied nut, threaded it through, being very careful not to drop it back there, which I've done many times. And luckily my little inspection mirror on the other side has a magnet. So I threaded it through. Going on there. Till it's relatively tight. Doesn't need to be cinched down too tight. And then I took a Sharpie, checking to make sure I know where I'm going. And I marked the bolt with a bunch of black lines. And what I actually did was I did one side black and one side blue with a different color Sharpies, so that I would, if there were any differences, I would know. And always be careful with this Allen wrench that you don't scratch your pedals, because it's quite easy to do every time it slips out of your fingers. Though I'm sure at some point just stones and shoes will end up scratching these pedals. But the pedals themselves I also bought on eBay, so unfortunately I won't be able to add a description or a link to purchase those. So now you can see, I don't know if you can see that, on the bolt itself there's a little black line I'll hold it in front of here so that maybe there's some contrast. So now we'll go cut that. Alright, so now what we'll do, now that we have the bolt in the vise, we're going to cut it right at the end of that black line. We'll take a Dremel. And that's it. We've cut that. We'll go back and install that into the pedal. Okay, now that we've got our bolt cut, we'll insert that through. We'll take the washer that came with it. Carefully put that on. It's very finicky to try not to drop these. I know I said that before. Now I'll tighten it up. I'd imagine you'd want to check these, and if you found that they were loosening at all, to put a little blue Loctite on there. Alright, I think I finally have a good grip on the back part of the nut, so now I can tighten this down. I feel it slipping a little bit. Remember, it's all plastic, so I don't think you want to tighten it too much, but you definitely don't want your accelerator pedal coming loose. Okay, that's good and tight. Okay, now the accelerator pedal has been installed. Looks good. Brake and clutch pedal. I don't know if you can see the little scratch. Right there. But you really can't see that from outside the car or even while you're driving. It's just too small and it's too dark up there. So now we're going to work on the spot for the dead pedal. First, when I lined it up, I took out this plastic piece, but there are two big holes at the bottom here where this plastic piece fits into, slides into a groove, and then screws down up here. So it wouldn't work for me to use the 3 screw holes that come with the dead pedal. So I'm leaving the plastic in place. I'll remove the bolt that holds the plastic in place, and I've already drilled it for the new screws. Alright, so here's the dead pedal. So we'll put that into place here. First we'll remove the screw that's existing. Now the screws that are provided with it were this long, and they're not long enough to go through the pedal and then really sort of bite into the plastic here. So what I had to do was go to the hardware store and buy a longer screw. This looks like it's about an inch long. So I used that instead. Sorry about the camera work. These are tight quarters. So once you have that one going, you want to align the two holes that you drilled at the bottom. And the screws that they did provide would fit that and would work, but the replacement screw I bought had sort of a domed head to it. I don't know if you can see that very well. Versus a perfectly flat head. So I purchased 2 more screws of the same length with the domed head, just so that it matches. And it really doesn't make a difference as far as standing out. There are those little rubber knobs that stick out as well. So I'll just go ahead and screw those in. Now again, it's important to be careful with the screwdriver, not to let it slip and scratch your pedals. Take your time. End with the Phillips perfectly square at the top, making a perfect X. Alright, so there, everything's installed. And let's take a look at it. Well, I think it looks great. I love it. Again, I think it was really important to use double-sided tape on both of these pedals before you start drilling and screwing in, so that you can have them aligned. So there they are, completed. Alright, I think they look great. This is the driver's perspective when you look down.